Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, I am Umi Kalsum Nuraeni and my student number is 12020400137 and my class is 6D. In this video, I want to explain about the source of Islamic law and the nature and scope of jurisprudence or fiqh. Islamic law, also known as Sharia law, is the legal framework that governs the life of Muslims, and it covers a wide range of topics, including religious ritual, personal behavior, family law, and business transaction also. And the main sources of Islamic law are the Quran and the Hadith, which are recorded saying and action of the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So we can say that Islamic law is the law established by Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala through revelation and now found in the Quran, and also explained by the Prophet Muhammad as his messenger through current Sunnah, well preserved in the Hadith book. And Islamic law also has several objectives, such as to be obeyed and run by Muslim and as a guide of life. And also, there is various sources of Islamic law. The first one is Al-Quran. The Quran is considered the primary source of Islamic law. It is believed to be the word of God revealed to the Prophet Muhammad SAW for 20 years. And the Quran contains 114 chapters, each of which covers a variety of topics. Muslim believes that the Quran provide instruction on how to live a righteous life and serve as a source of inspiration and moral guidance. Al-Quran is the holy book of Muslim, as well as the first and foremost source of Islamic law. The Quran comes from the word Qura'a, means read, because the Quran is a book that must be read and studied by people who believe the truth. And Quran is the word of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, revealed to the Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam through the angel Gabriel, written in the Mus'haf and narrated mutawatir. The Quran functions less as text prescribing what is wrong and more of the text describing the divinity of God and the code of conduct that must be followed by a true Muslim. And there is any main content of the Quran, including 5 things like Tawhid, worship, promises and threat, the way to achieve happiness in the world and the hereafter, and the last is stories. In general, the Quran functions as a guide for life and guidance for mankind. This means that the Quran contains basic teaching that must be guided by Muslim, because the Quran contains rules for the benefit of the people. And the second is Hadith. Hadith is the second main source of Islamic law. This is a collection of the saying and deed of the Prophet Muhammad as recorded by his companions. And Hadith are considered as a complement to the Quran, providing further guidance on how to live a righteous life. So we can say that Hadith is one word information from Rasulullah SAW, while as-sunnah is a way of life that is pass or live or something that is got used to, and the sunnah of the prophet is what is usually carried out in Prophet Muhammad's life. Habit are like word and the apostle approval. And there are any kind of hadiths like kauliyah, fi'liyah, takririyah, and hamimiyah also. Kauliyah hadith is the word of Rasulullah SAW that is explain religious law and the intent of the content of the Quran, and contain civilization, wisdom, knowledge, and also advocate good moral glorious. And fi'liyah hadith is the action of Rasulullah SAW. that explain how to perform worship, for example, like how we to pray to Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. And while Taqriya hadith is the determination and confession of the Prophet to the statement and action of others, and Hamimiyah hadith is something that the Prophet wants, but it has not yet been implemented. And then the function of existences of hadith on the Quran are: the first as bayan takrir, which strengthens the law that has been established in the Quran, and the second as bayan tafsir, which provides detail and explanation of verses of the Quran which are still general or global. And then the third is bayan tashri, namely establishing laws that are not found in the Quran. And besides Al-Quran and Hadith, there is also ijtihad as the source of Islamic law. Ijtihad have the same root word with the word jihad, namely jud means to be serious and jad which means difficult. Ijtihad means trying in earnest to solve a problem for which there is no legal provision, both in the Quran and also Hadith. Ijtihad is a problem mind processing in order to understand the text of the Quran and Hadith, or looking for a way out of a legal problem, for a problem that the answer is not found in the Quran and Hadith. And mujtahid is someone who performs ijtihad, and to perform ijtihad cannot be done by just anyone, because ijtihad is an activity in taking law. Some scholars stipulate that a requirement to become a mujtahid including: first, understand the content of the Quran and Hadith. Second, understand Arabic with the ins and outs of knowledge and everything completeness. Third, understand the science of usul fiqh and the principle of fiqh in depth. Fourth, understand the issue of ijma. 5. Have intelligence and good moral as a third source of Islamic law. Ijtihad has several functions also, such as an answer to the problem of life experiences by Muslim for which there are no legal provision in the Quran or Hadith, and also as the role of reason is highly valued in Islamic teaching. Ijtihad including ijma and also qiyas. Ijma refers to the agreement of Islamic scholars on a particular issue, whereas qiyas involves applying the principle of Islamic law to new situation based on similarities to existing situation. Or we can say that qiyas is to determine the law for an event that has no basis in the text compared to another event that has been determined the law is based on text, because there are ilat similarities between both incident. And the second material that I will explain is about the nature and scope of Islamic jurisprudence or fiqh. So fiqh is the understanding or interpretation of the scholar of ahkam verses and ahkam hadith in detail, which the jurists attribute to Islamic law with their understanding. Of course, it is very possible that there may be differences of opinion among the scholars. And fiqh is also often described as the human understanding and practices of the Sharia, that is, human understanding of the divine Islamic law as revealed in the Quran and the Sunnah. And fiqh in Islam, also known as Islamic jurisprudence, one of the dynamic disciplines dealing with the practical regulation and rules of the Sharia, such as observance of the worship, ritual, and social legalism derived from the primary sources of the Quran and Sunnah. It embraces variant approaches and developed in the context of different culture and tradition while applying the methodologies and application of God's revelation. Fiqh envisage the effort of jurists to understand and to practice the will of God and His guidance in the interface of individual, societal, communal, and civilizational setting. Fiqh as a science, scholar categories the law of human action into 5 categories, namely the first, obligatory or pardu, means everything that if done will get a reward, while if left out it will result in sin. Second, mandub or sunnah or mustahab is anything that if done will get a reward, and if not done doesn't have the implication of sin. Third, ibaha or mubah means action that do not bring reward if they are done, and are not sinful if they do. And fourth, karoha or makruh is something that is rewarded by people who leave it, and it is not a sin to leave it. And the last is haram. Haram is something that is rewarded by those who leave it and given the sins of those who do it. And fiqh as a science that is explored from detailed arguments. In discussing every legal issue, there are always the following elements. The first is the proposition or verses and hadiths which form the legal basic of a legal issue. Second, sabab or cause, namely something whose existence is used as a sign of the existence of a law for something. Third, condition, namely something that depends on the existence of shara law and it is outside the law itself, and the absence of which result in the absence of law. 4 pillars, namely something that must exist in carrying out legal action. If there is none, then the act becomes invalid. 5 ajima and rukhsah. Ajima are obligation, while rukhsah is relief from living obligation because there are uzur or obstacle. 6 legal, void, and vacate. Legitimate means that the action is carried out in accordance with the rule, fulfill the condition and pillar. And then Mustafa Azarko divides study of fiqh into 6 areas, namely the first, legal provision relating to the field of ubudiyah such as prayer, fasting, and this is what is then called the jurisprudence of worship. The second, legal proposition relating to family life such as marriage and divorce, and this is called as ahwal syahsiyah. And the third is legal provision relating to relationship, social relation between Muslim in the context of economic relation and services such as buying, selling, like that. And this field is called as fiqh muamalah. And the fourth is legal provision relating to sanction against criminal act, and this field is called as fiqh jinayah. And the fifth is legal provision governing the relationship between citizen and their governments, for example like politics, and this discussion is called fiqh siyasah. And the sixth, legal provision governing the ethic of association between a Muslim and others in the social life order, and this field is called as ahlam hulukiyah. And the purpose of making lawful provision regarding worship is in order to maintain a religious aspect, and this means to fulfill one of the demands of theological belief, because carrying out a series of worship is also a manifestation of the doctrinal provision of belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his messenger. I think that's all from me. I hope this video can useful and add your knowledge about Islam. Thank you so much for your nice attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.